Totem pole, 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 totem pole.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere.
Hello, everybody. Recording live from somewhere. It's Coach Taylor, the man in black, and Howard Shotsky. The 10 best NFL siblings. Life lesson today, brotherhood. And Jay Freeman, this is a topic that you talk about often. Brotherhood. And I'm not talking about the brotherhood that's among family, relatives, brothers, but the brotherhood that is formed between friends, coaches, sports, the Army. Coach Jay Freeman, how do you feel about brotherhood?
Well, brotherhood is.
You're breaking up a little bit, Jay. Howard Shotsky. Look at that. I invited 14 people to the party. It's my party, and I'll cry if I want to, cry if I want to. Howard Shotsky is the last man standing. Yeah. How do you feel about brotherhood?
I mean, just like I told you guys the other day, I was talking to somebody and telling them that some of my best relationships that I've created have come from football. So I think football is something that, promotes. Listen, if I'm an employer, I would definitely hire a former NFL player because their work ethic is tremendous. So to me, that's what the NFL is all about. I have clients that still stay in touch with each other. I know we got some Bills fans. Cornelius Bennett still talks to a bunch of his buddies that he played with in Buffalo. So it's a thing that definitely runs through the game of football, and one of the things I appreciate the most.
Coach Jay Freeman, the man in black. And you are in black because it's the middle of the night over there in Seattle, Washington. We're at 7:38 Eastern Standard Time. You're at 5:38, I believe.
Oh,
how do you feel about brotherhood?
38.
I think it's 4:38.
What time is it? Huh?
4:38.
4:38.
No one has ever accused me of being good at math or being smart.
Hey, Coach Troy Taylor, all you gotta do is subtract 3 hours or add 3 hours. And
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
4:38.
4:38. But yes, sir. But
that's
now,
dedication.
I will be honest. When they start with that Central Time, then I get a little confused sometimes.
Exactly.
But yes. I know the West Coast is 3 hours.
Yep. Hey, well, we're talking about brotherhood. And I started talking about it, and then my phone cut out or something like that.
Yeah, but before you
guys,
start though, I got a funny story for you guys about, since we were talking about time.
Yes.
And time zones. So I'm working at the NFLPA, and I'm still in law school. So I must have been about, maybe 21, 22 years old. And that was back in the days when, to get the salaries, you had to call every player's agent and have them verbally tell you what the deal was. So I got a whole list of agents and agents that I got to call to get salary information. So I ring one guy up, and it's about it was about a free agent. And unfortunately for me, the guy lived in Hawaii. So what was 8:45 in the morning for me was 3:45 in the morning for him. And he goes, "You're calling me at 4:00 in the morning about a fucking free agent?" So
Man,
that's when I learned.
when you were young and dumb.
That's when I learned to be
I was-
careful with time zones and when I called people.
That's a great story. That's a great story.
Paul, man from Seoul,
Yeah.
talking about the most NFL brothers, talking a little bit about brotherhood, not amongst brothers, because you have two great brothers, the Terminator and Agent 6, but the brotherhood that is developed in the Army through sports, through totem pole. Talk a little bit about the importance of brotherhood.
From the first snap of Little League football, there's never been a team that had one guy on 11 other guys. So from the minute you take your first snap until you continue your career on Totem Pole Nation, you always need the guy next to you. From football to the Army to Totem Pole. I wouldn't be who I am without teammates at all. And I understand that. And you would think that's an easy realization to come to, but it's not, because some people think that they are it. And those are the people that find themselves in trouble. In all walks of trouble. But yeah, man. It's figuring out that every day you wake up. So every day you wake up, someone got you to where you are today. Not someone, a lot of someone's. So just be grateful.
And we got a comment from Lambeau Calrissian Lancaster. And I almost got a Lambeau Calrissian Funko Pop. Remember when Lando Calrissian turned in his friend Han Solo, and then he came back and he had the mask on in Return of the Jedi? I almost bought that Funko Pop at Target for Lambeau Lancaster, Lambeau Calrissian, Lando Calrissian. Easy math. He says Pacific time is 3 hours or 2, depending on the state and region. Okay, now Lambeau, your math ain't exactly math right there. Okay, because east, and then minus an hour for central, minus another hour, which would be 2 hours for mountain, and then minus 3 hours for Pacific. If you're in Pacific, you're in Pacific. There's no, well, it depends on where you are in the Pacific. I don't know what I'm talking about. I've never even been in Pacific time, but the guy that's an expert is Coach Jay Freeman. Coach Jay Freeman is Lambeau Belichick. Lambeau Jackson. Lambeau knows. Easy math. Sometimes 3 hours or 2, depending on the state and region. Central time is 1 hour behind. What about mountain, Lambeau? Are you discriminating against people that live in the mountain time zone? Jay Freeman, how do you feel about Lambeau Calrissian's knowledge of time zones?
Yeah, I don't know. I have a lot of respect for Lando Calrissian's knowledge about NFL and WWE and all those things, and I don't mean to be disrespectful, because I think Lambeau is an incredible person, but I think it might be a little bit of longitude and latitude. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know if you can really debate that. You know what I mean?
He said, I'm just speaking facts. Okay, so
is that what he said?
Two places, time zones that's under different time zones.
Well, listen.
I see you smiling, Howard. You're a lawyer. Okay.
Here's what I have to say about Lambeau. Lambeau claims he can predict the NFL. So I'm telling you right now, I don't like that whole win thing for the season because I don't like playing cash up for 17 or 18 weeks. So I'll never bet the over-under on a team's wins. But I expect some winning picks from Lambeau every single week.
I just pick opposite of Lambeau. Whatever
Well,
Lambeau
hey, Howard, hold on. Yeah. How are you going to take picks from a guy who thinks the Patriots are going to have more than 8.5 wins?
Because
You're crazy, dude.
he claims he can predict the NFL. So, you know.
Yeah.
Well, if he knocked on that door, on my door, and gave me that first pick, I'd slam it right in his face. I'm like, dude, no. You said what? Patriots?
I like your energy today.
Well, it's
And
like
will probably be coming.
it's like
Here he is, ladies and gentlemen. He's wearing a Miami. Look at him, dude. He looks like Jack Nicklaus in that movie, The Shining.
Where's his beer goggles?
All work and no play. A doughboy. Lambeau, what do you got to say about brotherhood? What do you got to say about time zones? How many are there in the United States of America? The continental United States. Lambeau, what states are not in the continental United States?
I mean, I'm not getting that deep into those geography, but I mean, there's multiple time zones.
That's deep in geography, continental United States.
What two states are not in the continental United States? They're the last two states that were added to the United States.
I mean, I can't remember specifically off the top of my head, but I will tell you this answer. And no, I'm trying to answer your question. You said
Yes, sir.
how many time zones? There's multiple time zones, especially
There's an
overseas.
exact number though.
I'm gonna guess about maybe it's a big world. I'm gonna guess about 50 new time zones. It could be less.
In the United States of America, there's 50 time zones in the United States of America.
Oh,
the
in the United States of America. Oh, I think it's like 3 or 4 or something like that.
3
in
or 4.
States.
Okay, so there's a little wiggle room right there in your answer.
In the United States, I think it's 3. But
But you cannot name the last 2 states that were added to the United States. Okay, what was the last state? The last state added to the United States. We had 49 states until this state was added. What was the score of the Super Bowl in 2013?
Denver Broncos lost to Seattle 43-8.
Yes. See, ladies and gentlemen, that's what you get when you come to Totem Pole. The last state added to the United States was what state, Howard?
Puerto Rico.
I mean, dude, it's kind of like, you know how you have Death Row and Death Row's under Interscope? Like, they didn't go independent. They stayed under Interscope. Puerto Rico, I don't think is a state yet. But I mean, does it even benefit them to be a state? I don't know. Like Guam.
Was it Hawaii?
Yes. Okay, phone a friend. Will you agree with that, Jay Freeman and Paul Medley? Hawaii was the last state added to the United States.
Yes, sir.
Okay,
yes.
Here's a tougher question. Lambeau, what was the other state? What was the 49th state, if you had to guess? Think totem poles.
Hey, you made me want to sing that Jeopardy song.
New Mexico.
No.
What was it Washington?
That's a good guess. I think it's Alaska. All right, I'm not gonna bet my salary, which is 0, but I think it was Alaska. Okay, so Lambeau, we love you. There's 3 or 4 time zones in the United States. Let's get to what's important in life. All right, football, faith, family, and football. Lambeau, you're making some pretty serious allegations towards the one Jim Harbaugh, head coach of the San Diego Chargers, head coach of the Michigan Wolverines. Now, you are claiming that Jim Harbaugh has been watching Totem Pole and that he has actually stole our tag phrase, which we have trademarked. And this is trademark infringement, and you will be getting a cease and desist letter from our lawyer, Howard Shotsky. What are you claiming that Jim Harbaugh did, Lambo?
Well, Jim Harbaugh, the key word is faith, family, and football. We have faith, family, and football in the future of content creation. But look, Jim Harbaugh, Los Angeles Chargers head coach, EA Sports, led chartered arts, Madden NFL 25. I'm going to tell you this. Do not be surprised. Do not be surprised if the Los Angeles Chargers and the Kansas City Chiefs compete for the AFC West. Don't be surprised they win 10 to 11 games this year, because I believe in the coaches. I've watched what Jim Harbaugh has built around. He has a great staff. Greg Roman's the offensive coordinator. You got Jesse Minter as the defensive coordinator. Bringing in some Michigan guys that he brought with him, and bringing in some 49er guys when he was back in NFL 9 years ago or whatever. But look, I am a big believer in Jim Harbaugh, and there's a lot of people that fear Jim Harbaugh because he knows how to turn around a program, and he gets his teams mentally tough, fast, and quick. And look, the Chargers offense is very easy. They're going to be physical running the football. Justin Herbert's still going to be great, but if they're going to be physical running the football, you don't need to put the ball in his hands every single time. So they're going to be physical running the football. They drafted very well, especially they drafted Joe Alt, I think, at the number 5 overall pick. So look, the Chargers are the threat to the Chiefs in the AFC for the Super Bowl. They will make the AFC Championship game. Do not be surprised if they win 10 to 11 games this year. I'm going for the over on whatever. If it's over 10, 11, whatever it is, I'm going over. But that's just my gut. Me personally, I bet game to game.
No way.
No way. No way. What?
No way. They went over 11 games.
Oh. I said 10 to 11. It's 10
no
to 11.
way they win over 10 or 11 games.
How do you know? Why?
How do I know? Because it's the NFL. And he can't buy players cheeseburgers to get them to come.
This is the NFL. This ain't buying players cheeseburgers. This is about getting his team.
That's exactly what I'm saying.
The line on the Chargers is 8.5 10.
Over 8. Over 8.
You said 10 or 11, almost like there's 3 or 4 different time zones in the United States.
Oh, I'm answering Howard's question. He said the bet is over 8.5, and I said they're going to win over 8 games. If I said 10 to 11, that's common sense.
No, they got to win 9 games, Lambo. It's 8.5. It's got to be 9 games, not 8.
Well, it's going to be over that. Over
9 games.
Yeah,
it'll be over 9 too. It's going to be 10.
Oh, thank you. There is a difference between over 8.
I mean, 10 is over 8.
Yes, Howard. Would you like to be a bookie and have Lambo betting with you?
I would definitely take Lambo. In fact, I told guys I'm thinking get Lambo every week and just betting the opposite.
Yep. Ooh. There you go.
Shots fired. Jay Freeman.
Okay. Yes, sir. You're going to lose a lot of money. Keep betting the opposite.
Hey, so
just wait till the week 1 picks. Go ahead. Sorry, Jason. Go ahead.
Hey, yes, sir.
What's your week 1 pick for the Patriots and Bengals?
Patriots.
Okay, we can stop right there. Ladies and gentlemen,
you don't even know what the spread on the game is yet.
I'll wait till the week of. I'm focused on the process. We focus on life. I'm not worried about September. I'm worried about next week. I'm worried about next week. I'm not worried about September. They still got to play the preseason. They still got to have training camp. Training camp just started.
I know one thing.
Worried about that.
The Commanders are going to win more games than the Patriots.
Hell no. You
The
better stop that
Commanders are
nonsense
going to
right
win
now.
more
You
games
better
than the
stop that nonsense right now.
How much you got, Lambo?
You
How
better
much you
stop.
got on that?
Troy don't bet. I can't bet, Troy. You can't bet. You can't bet.
Dude, my dad taught me you can't bet what you can't pay. Right? You can only bet what you can afford to lose. And mine is 0. Yeah, so, but the man in the middle right here, he's got money to burn. He's Daddy Warbucks.
Well, you said you said it, so how about you put some money down?
No, but
you said it.
Paul,
You said it.
Paul, what did you, who's going to win more games, Paul? Washington Commanders or the New England Patriots?
I got the Washington for name your price.
Woo!
Name your price.
100.
Let's make a deal, Bob Barker.
100.
Hey, you better put
100.
your Funko Pop up, man. You better put that
100.
Funko Pop up.
$100.
Got you.
$100.
Now
Yeah.
here's the question I got now. Since Jay brought it up. Were you able to get Totem Pole Reed some Funko Pops?
Yes. Yes. And listen to this, Howard. I got it's really a joke. I go in. You can watch the live stream. I go into Chesterfield Town Center and I'm in the store. The door's open and a girl comes in and starts yelling at me for being in a store that the door was open. So then I had to go out. Yeah, it's crazy. And she goes, I know what you're talking about. I said, well, I'm looking for a Funko Pop Demon Slayer. Then like 2 minutes later, she comes back and says, here you go. I was like, well, can I at least show it to the kid? But then I go to Target. Then I go to GameStop. Listen to this. The lady brings out this huge Funko Pop. The thing is bigger than my head. All right. And it's some type of Pokemon god. He said it's the Jesus of Pokemon. It looks like a unicorn. And the girl goes, you've been pre-approved for a credit card. I said, oh, yeah. He said, give me 2 PlayStation 5s and 2 NCAAs. This is a miracle. Dude, you should have seen that girl's face when I said that. Give me 2 PlayStation 5s and 2 college footballs. I've been pre-approved for a credit card.
Man.
Mm-hmm. They won't give me a credit card. And you know what? She went to ring it up and said, sir, we're having some, I said, I got pre-approved. Give me 2 PlayStation 5s and 2 college footballs. I'm going to the Golden Goat Pawn Shop. That's right. Then something happened when she rung it up. Said, sir, for some reason, the transaction's not going through. I said, exactly. There's a reason. She said, sir, I really think it's our system. You've been pre-approved for $500. I said, sure. Yeah, so Jay Freeman, how's it going? The Funko Pops.
Coach. Hey, I heard yesterday that the Virginia Commission was going to nominate you for the Peace Prize. Holy nuts. Coach, you went through the ringer yesterday. When you were telling about that pre-approval stuff and check it out, I kept thinking about like Ocean's 11. And then they're trying to hit the casino and the cops are running up to them, but they're trying to get that stuff out of there before they figure it out, man. You know what I mean? Like that was like the great train robbery.
What about the guy who was got into a fight with in the Food Line parking lot?
Man, that's the best story ever, man.
Yeah,
hey,
it's my life.
This guy was calling into question Coach Troy Taylor's parking ability.
Yes, he was.
He said, Lord, he said, you might go to a 100-mile flea market, but you sure as hell can't park in a parking lot.
And I told the dude, I said, why don't you teach me?
Yeah.
And he said, I ain't teaching you nothing. I said, okay. Yeah. The dude said I took up 3 parking spots. I was parked about 50 yards away from the store. I had just helped a guy with autism and Tourette's get 2 Funko Pops, and I was going to get some peanut butter cookies for my friend's mom who's going through chemotherapy. And this tough guy comes up and says, I'm taking up 3 parking spots and thinks he's a tough guy. Well, I got in the grain at 6.7 in me, and I was feeling froggy, and I was feeling like jumping, Howard.
Let me ask you a question.
Yes.
Were you taking up 3 parking spots?
I went into the second one. I went into the second one a little bit, yes. I told the guy I'm not very smart and I can't drive. And he said, I can see you can't drive. And I said, well, why don't you teach me how? Yeah, it was a fun day yesterday.
Well,
Thank you.
Well, hey, Coach, I'm telling you, you got nominated for the Nobel Prize of Peace yesterday. You were doing that Funko Pop mission. You were doing all that stuff.
Yeah, I know.
Here's
And the only reason is because I'm the only one stupid enough to do it. The 10 best.
Were you
Yes.
able to get any of the Funko Pop?
I was able to get the cookies, and I put a debit card that I got to go to Buffalo in the bag and gave it to the man from Seoul. So I couldn't find. I went to go get pizza. I couldn't find my debit card.
I sent the exclusive.
Yes.
Oh,
Dude, he wanted me to go. He wanted me to go to stores for the exclusives that he had already bought. I was like, dude, like I'm not going around the country going to stores where you're not even going to buy the things, you know. So yeah, it was wonderful.
He wanted
The 10.
He wanted to flip them.
Yeah, well, his mom when I went to the movie theater, he was going to see Wolverine and Deadpool. You know, that's about brotherhood. Wolverine and Deadpool. His mom said, I told him not to buy any more big Funko Pops. The 10 best NFL siblings of all time feature some iconic duos. The 10 best NFL siblings of all time feature some iconic duos. This is Fan Buzz. In y'all's minds, when we talk about the 10 best NFL siblings of all time, what is a sibling, Lambo? That's a big word.
Sibling means brother, sister, you know, siblings like that. That's what it means. I mean, that's a common sense question.
Amazing.
I mean, it says siblings, so that means it's two or more. I mean, that's
Yes,
just
sir.
easy math. But
That is easy math. Who pops in your head?
what pops in my head? I mean, just what's trending? EA Sports, Uncharted Arts, Madden NFL 25, Jason Kelce and Travis Kelce, because they got the podcast, I think the Heights podcast or whatever that they started, and both of these players have played against each other in the Super Bowl 2022, where the Chiefs won 38-35 within like 5 seconds up in the game. So Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce, you know, that's what pops in my head.
Howard Shotsky.
I got one for you right off the top of my head. Terrell and Edmonds from Danville, Virginia.
Yes. Farrell Edmonds. I want to coach any of Farrell Edmonds' sons. All three of them went to the NFL. Jay Freeman.
Yes,
Jay Freeman. Who pops in your head?
He did have a third one that paid for just a cup of coffee, though.
Yes.
Hey, well, Total Pole Nation. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
No, I know. I you know, about drinking a cup of coffee. You know what I mean? I'm trying to get a cup of coffee right now, man. I'm waiting for something to open. I'm sitting here.
Wow.
Hey,
That's un-American. That state you're in is un-American if it doesn't have gas stations open at 4:30. Where does anybody get any booze?
Well, you can buy booze at the grocery store in Washington, like real booze. Yeah, it's not like it's liquor controlled. It used to be, but they changed the law probably when they brought in the legalized weed, and they just say, "Here we go, let's go." So anyway, hey, so the one I have is a little different, and I would be interested to see what y'all think. I'm gonna go for one a little more obscure. It's Matt Khalil and Ryan Khalil. Is that correct? And those were the two brothers. I think they both played for USC. I know the one brother won 2 national titles at USC. I'm not sure if they both did. They played for old Pete Carroll over there. And one was a center, and I think one was a guard, and they were both picked number 1, first round and second round, really high. And they're pretty amazing people, you guys. I mean, I was just kind of considering the topic a little bit. And I was saying, hey, I think it's Lebanese and Mexican descent, which is pretty amazing, right? We're talking about a game of the world, right? Another thing is, Like they've started a charitable foundation for lupus. That's what I'm trying to remember. And, you know, they were both really solid, good players for the Carolina Panthers. At one point, they were both playing together on the same team, and their sister hit the high note and sung the national anthem. It don't get a lot better than that in a family dynamic.
I totally agree. And that, you brought up Lebanon. So, as we all know, Lambeau is our resident NFL and geography expert. Lambeau, what continent is Lebanon located on?
I ain't never heard of Lebanon. I'm being serious. I ain't never heard of Lebanon.
He's never heard of Lebanon. Okay, well, Lambeau,
Beirut?
Of the 2018 Beirut, yeah, that's a bad neighborhood right there, dude. 2018, what was the score of the Super Bowl in 2018?
Patriots won the 6th title 13-3 against the Rams.
There you go. He's never heard of Lebanon, but he can give you the Super Bowl from 2018. Howard Shotsky, how do you feel about the United States of America's education system from listening to what you're hearing?
You know, I was part of that system for a little bit when I taught in law school, and to be honest with you, it was a lot easier on those kids than it was for us.
Man. Paul, who pops into your head when we talk about the 10 best NFL siblings, the 10 best brothers of all time that played in that league?
Siblings, I two pop in my head. You know, of course, I ran away from the Kelce brothers only because that's the first one that popped in my head, and that's just because it's recency bias. But I'll go with the Watt brothers and then the Barbers of Seville locally.
Oh, Tiki and Rondé.
Yes. I mean, those guys are Virginia as they come. Their dad went to Virginia Tech. They went to UVA.
I got another one for you now because I thought of DBs. Devin and Jason McCourty.
Yes.
The McCourty brothers. Ruckus.
It's a shame that Coach Bald is not here because he could talk about Shaquille and Shaquem Griffin that he coached at Lakewood High School in St. Petersburg. I'm going Peyton Manning and I'm going Eli Manning because somebody told me I have a 5 head like Peyton Manning. All right, let's get going with this list. Here we go. All right, this one right here, I didn't even know. This is an honorable mention according to the Fan Buzz website. I didn't even know he had a brother that played in the NFL, but this guy right here never won a Super Bowl, but he changed the game forever. I was a Washington Redskin fan, and nothing was scarier when you see 4 verticals, and this guy drops back, and you cover the 4 verticals, but you don't cover him. Randall Cunningham and his brother Sam Cunningham. So I'm gonna refer to the guy that was an agent during this time period in the NFL. Tell us a little bit about Randall Cunningham out of UNLV and his brother Sam Cunningham. Howard, are you familiar with this set of brothers?
Yeah, his brother was Sam the Bam Cunningham. He was the fullback for New England. Very, very good player.
Wow. Jay Freeman. Are you familiar with Randall Cunningham and Sam Cunningham?
Yep. There's no doubt about it. Now, Sam Cunningham was a little bit more straight line, would you say, than his brother Randall. Now, Randall, for those of y'all that don't know, maybe you were born a little bit later in the timeline. Randall Cunningham was Michael Vick before Michael Vick. Randall Cunningham was great escapability, great ad-lib. He was amazing. Kind of long and lean a little bit. And he could create. And he made more people look stupid from a quarterback than probably anybody did for probably 10 to 15 year span. I mean, you know, he was the definition of could you keep contained? Could you get him on the ground? And And it was before that was kind of a thing. I mean, you had scramblers, but that was a wild thing. That was a frantic thing. Like, oh my God, I'm going to flip my hips. I'm going to, you know what I mean? But Randall wasn't that way. Randall was like, bro, I can jump over you vertically. I can do a lot of these things that I would almost define as more of a modern quarterback. You know what I mean? He definitely was not a game manager. He was a creative force.
And I'm just going to take a picture of this because I was just looking at the guy that's running after him. And I was going to take a picture of him and say, this is a football player. But you know what? I'm going to take a picture of both of them. And, dude, this is what football players look like. This is what football players dress like. This is the uniform. This is the pattern. Look at these guys. Paul, does that make you feel like an American looking at that picture of those two guys? Howie Long out of Villanova, Oakland Raiders, LA Raiders, running after Randall Cunningham from UNLV, the Philadelphia Eagles. There's nothing more American than that pick.
No, that's a good picture. And and again, the one thing, I mean, as much as he scrambled around, he wasn't. I don't even remember him ever being injured or hurt. And that's where I look at who currently reminds me of him, and that's where I go to the nation's capital. That guy at the nation's capital, man, he's got a chance to be similar to this guy. Yeah, and because he's skinny, and I mean, people are like, people are on him because he's skinny. But Randall before the Vikings, and he was an older quarterback, he was just as skinny. But we'll see. We'll see. It's all about like Coach Freeman said. It's escapability, man. And self-awareness, like, that keeps you from taking those big shots.
Wow. What do you think of when you see this picture? I think these guys are football players.
Hey,
and I love America. Stargrove. Good morning, Totem Pole Nation. Stargrove, this is for you. Right here is an honorable mention. I guess Cam Newton's dad still got the bag of money that he got from Mississippi State. This guy's a trendsetter. He got the bag. He got the NIL before getting the bag was legal. He played the game. His dad knew the game. He hustled the hustlers. But for Cecil Newton and Cam Newton to be on this list, I don't even know if Cecil Newton played a down. His dad got Coach Ron Prince fired at Howard University. Then he transferred to William & Mary or wherever else, and then Auburn. But Cam Newton. Now, this is before Cam started growing his dreads. He's got a gold goatee there. Should they even be on the honorable mention, Howard Shotsky, Cam Newton and Cecil Newton?
Nah.
Coach Shay Freeman, how do you feel about Cam Newton and his brother Cecil Newton being on the honorable mentions for you?
Well, we Coach Troy Taylor, we're still talking about coffee and getting cups of coffee. Cecil was moving through so fast he might have spilled his coffee on the way out. But yeah. I don't know. I mean, sometimes I think Cam Newton was a very special player. I think when you hear people talk about his ability, his physicality as a quarterback, the way he helped to kind of morph, the modern offense a little bit, and his ability, but I think it's more of an asterisk. Like, you're gonna put an asterisk by it. Hey, man, this is more of like a tip to Cam Newton's hat. You know what I mean? Like, hey, this is on his career. It sure ain't what his brother did. Hey, Coach, I was sitting there, you guys, and I was thinking about brothers, and I said it's almost disrespectful to talk about brothers and not and not kind of go back to a certain point. And I mean, Coach, are we gonna go? Are we gonna go like? Are you gonna go take us through this list, or are we just gonna go off the top of our head a little bit?
We can do whatever we want. Yeah, this is not exactly organized. We can do whatever we want whenever we want, as long as Howard Shotsky says, Troy, that could get you arrested, or Troy, you're getting ready to lose money. All right.
Well, yeah. Well, we don't want to lose any money. You know what I'm saying? But hey, because you know why we're
losing. You can't lose what you ain't got.
We're the low man on the totem pole. Hey,
yes, we are.
Hey, but listen, I don't want to have blasphemy. And I see, is that Paul from Soul right there? But listen, I bet all of us might jump up when we hear this combination. What about them boys? I think they're from Georgia, and I think they grew up in a dirt floor house.
Yeah,
and it's called Shannon and Sterling Sharp.
Yes,
I think that might be the best combination of brothers that ever played. Because we all know about Shannon.
Hold on now. What about the Matthews brothers?
Well, no. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely other great combinations.
There's all kind. Yeah, which set of Matthews brothers? I mean, dude,
there's two.
If you have Matthews as your last name, there's two sets. I mean, I know their dad. I think the grandpa played in the league too. It's crazy.
And then I had a client who had a generational family like that too, where the grandfather, the father, and the son played. Jimmy Pine, who was center up for New England.
Is that Virginia
Tech?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw the man from Soul's eyes perk up when you mentioned Jim Pine. And is that because you are a Virginia Tech fan, man from Soul?
I'm not a fan. I follow the state schools, man. I support all the state schools. I mean, I'm not a super fan of any of them, but I get behind them.
So do you remember the wide receiver Ernest Wilford?
Yes.
Armstrong
High School.
He was another one of my clients.
Fishburne Military Academy. He's related to Morgan Moses. Good job.
Yep.
Good job, Howard Shotsky. Jim Cavanaugh got him. Man, Jim Cavanaugh got a lot of them. And
hey,
correct me if I'm wrong on this, Howard, but being a player agent is almost like being a good football recruiter or player personnel, because you can't be taking guys that ain't going to make it. Is that true, Howard?
Sure. That's absolutely correct.
He's shaking his head. Man, I dropped the ball here, and I did not play our graphic, man, from Soul. Whoever is the producer of this show needs to be fired. Yes!
Yes!
Look at these guys. We get more views than the Green Light podcast, or we were getting more views until I thought it was smart to show a WWE video game all night. We were getting more views than Chris Long's podcast. Howie Long, Chris Long, and the offensive lineman Long, right?
Jake.
How long? Is it Jake? How long?
Jake.
I don't know if Jake is related to them.
Then Kyle.
Chris and Kyle. Kyle went to Oregon. Both of these guys are from Virginia, because this guy, I don't know why. Why did he live in Charlottesville? This guy, I guess it was close to getting to ESPN or Fox or wherever. But this guy's sons went to St. Anne's Belfield. Chris Long went to UVA, played for Al Grove. He's a great player for UVA. And then Kyle Long, we kind of forget about. He might have had a better NFL career than Chris, but why do we remember Chris over Kyle? Because he went to Oregon? This is a hometown guy. I'm going to go with the hometown guy from Matoka, Virginia, home of James Ferrier.
That's a
Man
hell
from
of a player,
Seoul.
too.
Why do we remember Chris Long over Kyle Long, and then the dad has got the most perfect hair of all time? I mean, the dude still got a flat top, and his hairline still looks good, and it's not hair plugs.
Probably because Chris. Well, again, because he played at UVA, so we have some locality bias because we heard his name more, and then he was the top 5 pick in the draft. So, when he came on the scene with his dad being a former player and Hall of Famer, and he goes in the top 5, he had eyes on him at all times out there in St. Louis.
And he played the same position as his dad. Gator, good
Correct.
morning, Totem Pole Nation. Man from Seoul. My friend Howard Shotsky said, Troy, if you keep inviting people, we're going to have 14 people on here. And then I looked over, and it was me and Howard Shotsky. There was only 2 of us on here, me and Howard Shotsky.
And then he did the back-to-back, too.
Huh?
Chris Long did the back-to-back with the Patriots and the Eagles. That at the end of his career, and that pumped his name, repumped his name because the teams weren't good in St. Louis, but when he did the Patriot Eagle thing, he got the late career pump up.
2 Super Bowls,
and he made some plays in that.
Coach Jay Freeman, you have the Facebook line play. Brotherhood, and we're talking about brotherhood here today. We're still on the honorable mentions, y'all, and we're back. Totem Pole Nation, we are back. Gator, did I play Gator's graphic? I don't think I did. Dude, the producer of this show needs to be fired. He is not worth the money that he gets paid.
Gator is in the house.
Coach Bald. Good morning, Totem Pole Nation. 2 of my all-time favorites, brothers, the refrigerator William Perry and his brother Michael Dean Perry. Great show, much respect to all. Howard Shotsky is nodding. I think that I'm figuring out Howard Shotsky's pattern. Whenever I name a player and he starts, I know it, I can see it. It's like these symbols start appearing in his mind, and they're dollar signs. I don't even know if they're colored. I think they're green and gold. And it's like, ding, 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 ding.
You bring up William the all I can think of is the Bears and the Super Bowl shuffle.
Yes. Elijah Benton, welcome back to Totem Pole Nation. We are the low man on the totem pole. And if you have to ask why, just keep watching.
Hey, can I speak on the Perry brothers?
Yeah, you can talk on the Perry brothers. And since you are the owner of Line Play Brotherhood Facebook, the #1 O-line, D-line Facebook group, go follow, go sub, go join the Line Play Brotherhood on Facebook. Coach Jay Freeman, talk about the Perry brothers and the Long brothers.
Oh, very good. All right. Well, first, oh my goodness. Hey, so the Perry brothers. Everybody always thinks about the William the Refrigerator because he has a great nickname. He's got the great gap tooth smile. He was a dominator. Okay, if you ever want to find out what a great, talented, incredible, once in a generation talent looks like as a defensive tackle inside, go look at his Clemson film. Go watch his Clemson film.
You brought up a good point, Coach. I am partial to defensive linemen that have a gap in their team.
Well, in life in general, a gap tooth was a good thing. When you're swimming in the pool, you can squirt water through that gap, and it goes a long way. And women kind of like gap tooth men a little bit, Women think you got a little gap tooth, you got a little something going on. You know what I mean? They don't know what's going on. Hey, how about this? Michael Dean Perry was an incredible player. Mm-hmm. You can ask about that? Bill Belichick and Nicky Saban. You can ask them what kind of player Michael Dean Perry was. They would tell you they would rather have him than anybody else as an interior defensive lineman. That was their best. That might have been their best player they had in Cleveland as far as a dominator. He destroyed people. They structured their whole defense around him. Okay. And, he was a very, very special cat. And they put Pepper Johnson or Pepper Johnson behind him. Mike, I think they had Mike Johnson still. I'm not sure. But that defense was, okay, he brought in Carl Banks. You know what I mean? He brought in some of those guys. That defense was a tough defense. Anthony Pleasant, Eric Turner. They had some good players in 1994 now, let me tell you. All right, hey, one more thing about Michael Dean. Refrigerator could dunk. So the reason I say go back and look at his Clemson film, those guys were the best Clemson ever had at defensive line for a long time. Okay. Kyle Long and is it Jake or Kyle? Kyle Long and Chris Long. All right, now listen, Chris Long, when he came out, you guys, from UVA, I was like, man, this guy, he tests well, he runs well, he looks good, but I always thought he was a little skinny or a little bit, like the thing I like to say is not enough sand in the bucket. Not enough sand in the bucket. And he was a little different cat than his dad. Everybody thought, well, man, he'll be like his dad, but in, modern times. He wasn't quite as thick and big as his dad. I don't think he could quite anchor like his dad. I mean, his dad could take over games. I remember Monday Night Football in the 80s, and the whole thing was them replaying Howie Long. And I don't think Chris was ever quite that level. Definitely not that level. But he was enough to get 2 Super Bowls, like the man Paul from Saul said. And he played for a long time, high draft pick. Now, the other guy was a different kind of cat. And I don't know what Howard would think about this, or y'all would think about this, or Coach Troy Taylor, is he was a great athlete as a guard, right? And he was a different kind of player as a guard. He went in the Bears, right? He played for the Bears, I believe. Am I correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
And it was a kid that everybody was real excited about. Everybody was like, man, this guy's such an athlete. And he was kind of like, he was a really talented guard, but he had to learn to play the game. And he had some really good strings of games, but I don't think he ever I don't know. Again, I'm sitting in the parking lot of a grocery store, but I think it's, I don't know if his career was what we thought it would be. I think, I'd say, like Paul from Soul said, I think Chris Long got to cap his career with 2 Super Bowls. And so between the high draft pick and the 2 Super Bowls, it was fine. But I don't think his brother, the guard, ever had that capstone moment, ever had that moment that was like his crowning achievement.
Man, I was just thinking something. We're from Virginia, and I'm getting ready to post something on social media, and it's going to be Chris Long is the other image I'm going to use. But I'm going to say this. It just hits different when you're from our state and you go play for our state. And the images are this. Bruce Smith, Rondé and Tiki Barber, Michael Vick, and Chris Long. It just hits different when you're from our state and when you play for our state. UVA and Virginia Tech, man, y'all got some enormous power in this state. And y'all forgotten it.
Hey, Charles Haley.
We own this state. We are the triangle. We are the VA. We are the 2 up, 2 down. They got to come take our players to win. They got to come take our players to win. Because everybody knows that the guys in Virginia stay in Virginia, they're going to win a national championship. Now that there's a 12-team tournament, one of them is going to win the national championship. But it's the team that is smart enough to go get the guy that can get the guys. That's built his personal brand.
Aren't we talking
Man from Seoul, Howard Schotsky. Would you want to be the agent of the guy that can go get the guys?
Are we talking about Virginia football?
A guy that's loyal to you?
What happened to siblings in the NFL?
Howard Schotsky, the yellow brick road is leading me to wherever I want to go. And y'all are kind of like, I'm Dorothy, and y'all are the Tin Man and the Cowardly Lion and the Scarecrow. But you know what they found out at the end of the movie? That the ones that said, that were told they didn't have no heart, didn't have no brain, and didn't have courage, actually had the most courage, actually had the most brain, actually had the most heart. Man, Coach Shay Freeman, you're smiling. Man from Seoul,
Yeah.
You remember when I did the podcast called Counter Culture Podcast, and they took it down? That was the first time Jay Freeman ever messed with me. And I had a feeling that Jay Freeman didn't like me for some reason. Maybe it was because Jay Freeman didn't know me. But that was the first time that Jay Freeman ever commented on one of our podcasts. Coach Jay Freeman, how do you feel?
Oh, I feel pretty awesome, man. I'm telling you what. Hey, so Coach, hey, if I was one of those characters in Wizard of Oz, you know who I'd want to be? I'd want to be the little oil can. The little squeaky little oil can that gets carried by the Tin Man, because whenever you need a little bit of juice, whenever you need a little bit of lube, baby, whenever you need a little bit of motivation, baby, let's go. Squeak, 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 squeak. I got the oil can, baby. I'm going to give you some of that good old stuff, man. Let's go.
I'm not keeping up with the comments. Gator, mine would have to be the Pouncey brothers. Woo! 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 6'5" power forwards. 6'5" power forwards. Savages, dogs. Mm-hmm.
Hey, I got to talk about them now. Hey, I played against them, Coach.
Brothers, Coach Ball, Virginia teams haven't been relevant in football in 10 years, Coach. Well, guess what, Coach Ball? Maybe things are going to change. Gator, finally I can see y'all. What y'all think of the Pouncey brothers? Pouncey, definitely bad blanks from Lakeland, Florida. Coach Jay Freeman, the Pouncey brothers.
Yes, sir. I was at Palm Bay High School in Melbourne, Florida, and we had a squad ourselves. We had some dudes that could play football. They were good football players, and we were tough and physical, and we could run. I mean, when I left Palm Bay, we had 17 kids run 4.6 or better on a high school squad. But I'll tell you what, we had a playoff game down there in Lakeland, Florida. The Lakeland Dreadnoughts, baby. All right, I don't know if you guys know it or not, in the South, that's the hometown of Publix. That's the headquarters of Publix supermarkets, is Lakeland, Florida. And so, but Lakeland Dreadnoughts are a powerhouse and have been a powerhouse in Florida for a long time. And I don't know if you guys know this or not, they had both of the Pouncey twins, which you can imagine, right? I mean, those guys in high school football together, they're brothers. But then they had another guy that was a 1,000-yard rusher, I believe, at Florida. He was an all-SEC running back. His name was Chris Rainey. But those two brothers, you guys, oh, man. So even though we were a heck of a good football team, we took that L that day, baby. It was like 24-7 beatdown. So
I'm interested to see who's on the list.
Yes. Well, I don't have to go to work till August 1st. So we have some time, Howard, and I appreciate you and your football knowledge. Here you go, Howard. Keep me on task. Let's go. Howard Schotsky. We're still in the honorable mentions. Marcellus Bennett and Michael Bennett. Howard Schotsky. They're not in the top 10. What do you think? I forgot about these guys.
I need to see the top 10 before I can comment.
Okay, well, there's something about YouTube, and you're keeping people watching to see the top 10.
Paul, though. I'm like Paul. I want to know who we forgot.
Well, I think we could talk about that once we go through it. We're going to have a lot of content. We are the content. Do you remember Marcellus?
Well, I've been staring at the same picture for about 30 minutes now.
Which picture are you staring at? Which picture? I just put the Green Bay Packer picture up there. The Jake Long and Howie Long was up there. Or Chris Long or whatever.
Minutes.
Long brothers. We're actually getting people that are watching us now, Howard. So I'm like happy now. Yeah, I'm feeling good. It's like I'm seeing those dollar signs, Howard. When you start seeing those dollar signs, I'm just thinking about Virginia football.
Who's number 10?
Huh?
Who's number 10?
Who's number 10? Yeah. Okay, hold on. Have we even started the countdown yet? Are we still in the honorable mention?
Forget that.
We're still. Forget that. Okay, we forgot the Bosa brothers. We forgot a bunch of them. Number 10.
Oh, the Bosa brothers. Yeah.
Okay, so go back to the Bosa brothers. Okay, so let's just Marcellus, Michael Bennett. Y'all just tell me if you want me to stop. Clay and Casey Matthews. Nick and Bosa. How about this one? Nick and Joey Bosa. Howard Shotsky. I'm seeing the cha-ching, cha-ching. Where's my money? Noise.
How did Nick and Joey Bosa not make the top 10?
It's blasphemy. This is blasphemy.
That's why I want to see who the top 10 is.
Yes, everybody wants to see the top 10, but that's the thing about YouTube. You get people to watch and keep watching.
All right.
It makes people.
We got.
Does Howard or Jay want to talk about the Bosa brothers? We've talked a lot about the Bosa brothers.
Yeah.
Hey, I don't know. They're special cats, and I think we covered really good yesterday. But those people that weren't on yesterday, we talked about their dad was a number 17 pick overall by the Dolphins. Their uncle, Eric Kumro, was a first-round pick of the Dolphins as well. And they both are, exceptional products. And it's funny that Chris Long is on the list because I would say, obviously, Joey Bosa and the Bosa brothers are almost like Chris Long redefined, but probably a little bit better, a lot better, right? Well, all right, bro. And you know what I mean?
They're more freakish. Their mama was more of I was about to say freak, but that's not good. She was a better athlete, had to be. Because when you put with an elite female athlete, it's like getting Shaq's DNA and Lisa Leslie's DNA. Yeah, you're going to have a good basketball player. I want to coach that kid. Oh, here we go. Number 10, Devin and Jason McCourtney. Howard Shotsky. How do you feel about these two guys? Where is Lambeau, New England Patriots?
Oh, they were, they're from Jersey. I actually met with them when they were coming out. I tried to represent both of them. Real good kids. Good, solid players. Went to some Pro Bowls. I'm surprised they're not in the top.
What do you think, man from Seoul, about the McCourtney brothers?
I think it's a little bit inflated, and here's why I'll tell you this. I think if one of them hadn't played with Belichick and they just were in the league, I don't think they would be in the top 10. I think playing for Belichick and the Patriots and on the Brady teams had a lot to do with getting them their pump up. And then he joined them for a couple seasons, but when he was just a random wherever the other brother was just random wherever he was.
See, that's that Virginia football bias coming right through.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's not. I didn't look, man. I look. No. I mean, no. Because Chris Long, the Kyle Long, they don't move the needle either. As far as top 10 guys, they're just guys. But
Jay Freeman, how do you feel about Devin and Jason McCourty?
I think the man from Seoul is correct. I think a lot of times in these brother duos, you see one brother that is maybe leading the pack a little bit, and one brother might be coming in on the coattails a little bit. And I think Paul is probably right on the money of when, and now Howard can speak to this, but the NFL likes sure things. As much as we can get a sure thing, we like a sure thing. And so we have a brother that makes it, especially a brother that plays for a successful coach, a trusted mind in the business, then you're much more likely to go grab that second sibling. What do you think, Howard?
Yeah, I would agree. Drafting is in a. What I was going to say is that the draft is not an exception. So anything that makes these guys feel more comfortable is help play drafting.
That's exactly right.
Now, this one right here, man, number 8. I think this might be more even what you talked about.
yes,
Dan, Rob, and Chris Gronkowski. I mean,
No.
there's only one guy here that's a legitimate NFL player.
yeah. Let's keep it moving.
Now, one
No?
or two of them played for Maryland. I forget which one.
It's
I
not
think
the
it was
one
Dan.
right here.
I know it was Dan.
This guy looks like a Maryland guy. He looks
Dan.
like a Maryland guy. This guy
Dan.
looks like
Dan was a Terp. I know that.
the shaker bottle guy. The guy that owns the shaker bottle.
I don't know.
Yes, Gronkowski brothers are wonderful. Number 7, here we go. What is going on, man? They don't even have a picture of Rondé. There they are. Look at those guys. Number 7, Howard is shaking his head. Rondé and Tiki Barber, Howard Shotsky. They are number 7 on the list.
Tiki's a guy I know real well because
Wow.
his teammates. And, when Tiki was a rookie, that free dinner was important. So he always came out to dinner with us because he knew with Strahan there we weren't paying.
Woo! That's what I'm talking about.
But
Man from Seoul.
I knew Tiki's first wife. That was before he got rid of her for the young blonde.
Wow. How much money did that cost him?
I would imagine quite a bit.
Yes, half. Half of a lot. Man from Seoul, Rondé and Tiki Barber. What do you think?
They were the barbers of Steveville. Here's my problem. They were good NFL players, but not great. And again, the one
One's a
thing
gold
that
jacket guy. One's a gold
yeah,
jacket.
but that's what I was about to get to. I don't want to be a hater, but I don't see it.
So
I don't see it.
You're trying to tell me Tiki Barber was an average NFL player?
I didn't say average. I said good.
He's a Pro Bowler.
He wasn't great. And his brother was good. He wasn't great.
Okay.
Because I'm gonna tell you right now. Because if we could sit here, we could talk about DB play, and you're gonna be like, "Whoa, he's ahead of all these dudes." Because he's a jacket guy. Zone guy.
I'm really going to break this down.
Huh?
Here you go. Everybody, here's what I'm going to say. Everybody that's from Virginia knows which one of these guys is the better football player. Everybody that's from Virginia knows this guy on the left Tiki Barber is better than Rondé Barber. This guy right here didn't even start his first couple years in the NFL. He's a product of Monty Kiffin's system. Everybody knows this guy's better. This guy, I'm going to say it, he was a great NFL running back. He started from 1990. He played from 1997 to 2006. Running backs don't have a very long shelf life. My mentor, Jim McNally, loves Tiki Barber. Tiki Barber is he is one of only 4 players with 5,000 rushing yards and 5,000 receiving yards. Wow. He's a 3-time Pro Bowler. He was first team All-Pro. He rushed for 10,000 yards in the NFL. I mean, dude, where is he all time on rushing yards? I mean, I need to look it up. I don't know. I mean, all the stats are inflated. Coach Ball said Rondé is Hall of Fame. Giving his flowers, you are out of your.
You know what? I don't see it. I always ask. Yes, and again, I would argue this, I would argue this, and because Troy, you just said something. I would argue that I ask myself this when you talk about Hall of Famers, because again, don't act like we get them all right, because no one's perfect. Yeah. Okay. So I ask myself this: can you write the NFL story without Rondé Barber? Yes, you can. So that means he's not in there. Can you write it without Tiki? Probably not. So you see what I'm saying? He gets a mention in the NFL storybook when you write the story. Rondé, no. Dude, that defense, like you said, Monty Kiffin, Tampa 2, no. I don't want to hate, but can you write the NFL story? Can you write the NFL story without Warren Sapp? Hell no. Rondé Barber.
So one of them was drafted 66th overall. One of them was drafted 66th overall, and one of them was drafted 33rd overall. Tiki was drafted in 1997. My fault. 1997 is the 36th pick. And then his brother, Rondé Barber, was picked. Man, the producer of this show needs to be fired. He probably needs to get off the Cricket Wireless Wi-Fi. What do I have? The Fi-Fi? What kind of Wi-Fi do we have, Howard? His brother picked in the 97 draft in the 3rd round, 66th overall. So they were both drafted in the same draft, right? They came out the same year?
No,
the NFL
I don't think
scouts
so.
thought they're both in 97. The NFL scouts thought Tiki was better than Rondé coming out. And that's why I said coming out of college, everybody knew Tiki was the man. He was 2-time All-ACC. Coach Jay Freeman said that in 1993, UVA beat Florida State. I was at the game. And I know it was my senior year because it was a Thursday game and I was suspended for the game on Friday. I couldn't play against James River. My dad got free tickets. I was there at the goal line. Jay Freeman, talk about the Tiki and Rondé Barber brothers.
So listen, you guys, can you guys hear me good? You guys, man, you guys are speaking facts. You guys are so on it, man. And these kind of, these things are why we're here talking about it. Okay, this is why we're here as a group of people talking about it because Troy Taylor is speaking facts, Paul from Soul speaking facts, and so is the wonderful Howard because of this. Hey,
I go by Phil now.
You got me, baby.
Tiki's better.
You got me.
Tiki's better on film.
Bill?
Yeah.
Hey,
well,
listen.
Tiki is us, dude. Tiki is almost Saquon Barkley.
Jay,
Almost.
It only took you 2 weeks. I got a neighbor that I've been living 3 houses down from. He calls me Robert.
Oh, there you go.
I have seriously corrected the guy so many times that it's now become uncomfortable. I can't correct him anymore.
Maybe just get a name tag.
Well, I was somewhat surprised when he wrote the condolence note from my wife. He addressed it to Howard. And I'm going, well, who the hell does he think Robert is then?
Yeah, man.
And
That's the other guy that lives there.
so my other neighbor is standing there one day, and he walks by and he goes, "Hey, Robert." And my other neighbor goes, "Did he just call you Robert?" From now on, what do you think the other neighbor now calls me?
Robert, every time.
Bingo.
Yep.
Oh, so Coach Ball says Rondé is Hall of Famer. Give him his flowers. You're out of your mind, Coach. I'm out of my mind to think that Tiki Barber is better than Rondé Barber. I think you've been drinking that Tampa Bay juice. You forgot where you came from. You're a Buffalo Bills fan. You're a Buffalo Bills fan, Coach Bald. And I think I hear him. I think he's getting his camera ready. I think he's getting ready to set up for the background shot. I can hear it, or can I feel it? Rondé walk-off against the Eagles was the greatest moment in Bucs football history, which they haven't had many, but that's one of them. Gator, dang, I hate that. I'm going to miss this. It's been fire, but I'll watch it later. I'll check back later. Fellas, Jay Freeman, what are you thinking? You're smiling from ear to ear. You're smiling like Howard when he sees.
Well, you know what they say? Yeah, Howard smiled like that when he's falling behind a Briggs truck and the money fall out. Hey, how about this? How about this? Hey, I was going to say this when Paul was talking about Tiki and Rondé, especially about Rondé. Listen, we got to have 11 people on the field. Hey, it takes 11 people on the field. So if you got a Warren Sapp and you got a Derek Brooks and you got a John Lynch, then you also need a Rondé Barber. You feel me? I got to have 11 people on the field to play. And so if I'm not the greatest corner in the history of the world, or if I'm somehow have to play within a zone concept and I don't get to play man every play, then maybe I might see differently, right? And maybe we could all say this: hey, if you had put Tiki at corner, he would have cooked everybody, right?
Yeah,
but
whatever you wanted.
Hey, but listen, when I think about Tiki, I think about heart, baby. Not the biggest running back, maybe not even the fastest, but he's going to go get you those yards. Why does Jim McNally love him? Why does any offensive lineman love a running back who has courage of a lion and a big heart to go get those tough yards and get in those creases and take those hits? Hey, what do we hate as an offensive line group? We hate it when running backs dance. And they avoid, they don't hit it. Tiki was fearless, man. Tiki was fearless.
Yes, he was. And I need to show you all this picture. Okay, this is a picture right here of Rondé and Tiki Barber. View image. Yes, I want a view image. All right, let's take a look at this picture. Look at the difference between these two human beings. All right, now, Howard Schotzky is a player agent. Look at these two guys. I mean, is there a difference between the two of them? Which one would you say would be a gold jacket guy? Who was a better player at UVA in 1995, Jay Freeman, when they beat Florida State for the first time? Would it be 21 or 19? What number do people want to wear? 21 or 19? That right there shows you. This guy, he looks like Adrian Peterson. He looks like Adrian Peterson. This guy looks like a mini version of him. I mean, no disrespect. I love you both, but that's why we're here. And Howard Schotzky, that's why we love it. And Howard, I think you love talking about these players because you just love football and you love, here we go, 40 picks and 20 sacks. That's because he played cover 2. He played into the boundary, and he came off the edge. Only Charles Woodson has that. Does Charles Woodson not belong? Charles Woodson was rated 100 in the top 100 players in NFL history. I said or athletes. That's a travesty since 2000. Best slot corner of all time? Dude, that means he's a nickel. That means he's not good enough to play outside corner. Yeah. Dude, I don't remember. I mean, did he play nickel later in his career? Someone had to play the flat in the cover 2, which covered the Tampa 2, which is really cover 3. So yeah, Coach Bald, we can agree to disagree. You love Rondé Barber. I'm a Tiki guy.
Let me know when you're done hating on Rondé.
It's not hate, dude. It's just calling it like we see it. Can you write the NFL story without Peanut Tillman?
Probably.
Peanut Tillman. All right, this one right here, no way. No way, Jose. No way, Jose, to even the Barber brothers. All right? I was a Redskin fan, and Champ Bailey, dude, he may be a bigger diva corner than Deion Sanders. And Boss Bailey, come on, dude. No one even talks about Boss Bailey. All right, so Howard, how do you feel, Howard?
I don't know. I didn't know he had a brother.
Wow.
He went to Georgia. He went to Georgia.
Wow. Both of them did, right? I mean, Jay Freeman, I can see Man from Seoul is shaking his head over there. He's getting upset. Hey, I'm telling you, in Matoka, Virginia, they got mosquitoes that are as big as in Pocosin. Dude, they're the size of hummingbirds. I had one take a pint of blood from me yesterday sitting in the backyard. Yes, you must be immune to those suckers. Jay Freeman, Boss Bailey, and Champ Bailey.
Well, definitely we talked about again. I finally got my cup of coffee, and I think Boss had an extended cup of coffee. He was a backer, right? And I believe he was a backer. And Champ, Champ had some good ability, right? Champ had some good ability. He was a good shutdown corner and stuff. But like you said, you can't be a prima donna.
Yeah.
You gotta earn.
He got better as he got older. But Coach Ball says, because you guys are big market hammers. Dude, Richmond, Virginia, compared to Tampa Bay and St. Petersburg, we are the small market. We're Virginia hammers. But big market hammers? Look at Man from Seoul. Look, I don't think I've ever seen him look like this. I mean, look at him. I like it. His head starts turning like this.
I didn't want to. You know what? I didn't want to start football season talking about Rondé Barber because that one gets at me, man. Well, I love the Barbers from Seville, but dude, we're talking about a jacket.
Listen, they probably
how many other people now you got to put in the Hall of Fame that play corner because of that move? It's not, dude. Come on. Just because we like people and they, no. Let's be real.
How
about?
Yeah. Can you write the NFL story without Richard Sherman?
I like Richard Sherman.
Can you write the NFL story without Revis Island? Come on.
I mean,
come on.
I think you can write the story with pretty much everybody, and they'll just rename the Lombardi Trophy. Whatever they want to name it. Howard Shefsky, what do you think? What are you feeling?
Are we going to change the Thorpe Award to the Barber Award now? The best corner in college football? Like, come on. You know what? I need another cup of coffee. My stomach hurts.
I think you might start drinking here in a minute. I think you might start drinking.
Maybe. That's a good idea.
All right, I'm coming over for a barbecue. You still got those hot dogs? I need a biscuit.
I got everything.
Okay, Howard, how you feeling, Howard?
I'm wondering who's next.
There you go. Thank you very much, Howard, for keeping us on track. How about this one? JJ, TJ, and Derek Watt.
Okay.
Definitely
I'm okay
better than the
with that.
Gronkowskis. Howard Shotsky, how do you feel about these guys? Do you see dollar
Yeah.
signs?
I didn't know there was a Derek Watt.
Yeah.
Well-
Fullback.
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 But I would choose to represent the other two.
Yes. 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 Coach A. Freeman. I was the guy that told a guy to go play 4 technique, 5 technique for the Houston Texans the same year that they drafted J.J. Watt. He could have went to Seattle, and I told him to go to the Texans. That's how stupid I am. Sean Graves, I'm sorry for ruining your NFL career, all right? But if you would have played offensive line, dude, you'd be a gold jacket guy. But you're just you're a defensive tackle who would have been a Hall of Fame offensive guard. Play offensive line when in doubt. It's crazy that the position nobody wants to play is the position that everyone's looking for. No coach has ever said we have enough linemen, especially offensive linemen. Coach Jay Freeman, #1 Facebook group in the world, Line Play Brotherhood. This is about brotherhood, and you're a part of the totem pole brotherhood. Isn't this a blessing?
Such a blessing.
We're blessed.
Such a
We're blessed.
We're blessed. Mr. Lancaster, is that a real photo? Yeah.
wow.
Hey, look, I'll be here all week. Make sure that you tip your wait staff. Okay, they get paid nothing, including these other 3 guys next to me.
Try the veal.
Yes, and go watch. Well, don't go watch the Counterculture podcast if I ever want to coach football anywhere again, because they're going to have me in the loony bin. You know, they're going to have me with what's his name, the guy on Twitter that got banned, Jim Jones or whatever his name is.
Coach, you got to drink the Kool-Aid. Hey, how about this? Hey, when I think about the Watt brothers, not the fullback Watt brothers, but the 2 defensive Watt brothers, I think about one thing. I think about 1,000-pound tire flips.
Ooh.
1,000-pound tire flips. That's how I think both of them became such badasses, is flipping those big tires.
All that fancy equipment is to make somebody money. All that Boyd Epley told me. Boyd Epley said that Hammer Strength used him, and that was all because of recruiting. Okay, they used Boyd Epley. Boyd Epley believed in bars and weights. It hasn't changed. You can
the Husker weight room.
You can pick up hay bales. You can pick up railroad ties. It doesn't matter. Howard Shotsky. Is it time to move on to the next picks?
Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah.
Hey.
Now, Howard Shotsky, I know you're going to like this one. Coming in at number 4. Yes.
Would you throw the ball opposite of Rondé Barber as an offensive game plan?
I mean, they're in cover 2, and he's going to be in the flat. It ends up being cover 3 because Derek Brooks has got the middle of the field.
Next slide.
Man, he is not going to let this go. I'm going to get you a Rondé Barber jersey. All right, and you're going to wear that Rondé Barber jersey if you lose that bet to Lambeau. Bruce Matthews and Clay Matthews. Howard Shotsky, you were an agent in the NFL during their era. Talk about Bruce Matthews and Clay Matthews. And could Bruce Matthews have blocked Michael Strahan? Did he block Michael Strahan?
Bruce was a tremendous player. good guys, good players. I can't say out of them right where they are.
Coach Jay Freeman, Line Play Facebook group, the Brotherhood, almost at 100,000. Go to Facebook and join Coach's group, the greatest offensive and defensive line cohort mastermind ever assembled. Coach Jay Freeman, talk about Bruce Matthews and Clay Matthews.
Oh, special players. Like you could say, generational players. I think Clay was a heck of a linebacker. Okay, heck of a linebacker. Could drop, could rush, could cover, could tackle. Smart player, good instincts. And he was a guy that I would say was the Cleveland defense for a long time. There was a Mike Johnson, which was a little Mike out of Virginia Tech, I think, back in the day. But Clay Matthews was the guy in Cleveland at linebacker. Now, Bruce was incredible because of how long he played. I mean, you know what I mean? Like I think he played some tackle when he was younger. He played guard. He played center. There was another great guard he played with who has been a pretty successful NFL coach. And I'd see if the panel knows who that guy is. Who is the other great guard, interior offensive lineman player that played with Bruce Matthews? Who knows? He's now a successful coach in the NFL.
Mike Munchak.
Munchak?
Yes, sir.
Who just interviewed my friend. Oh, my gosh. Never mind. I'll talk to you later about it. Go ahead, Jay.
I'm just saying those two guys were the interior of that organization for a long time. And so I think that's the thing when you look at those two players is there's a toughness there in both those men. There's a toughness, and we started off talking about brotherhood, right? And there's a toughness there in Bruce Matthews and Clay Matthews that honestly, I think young players get offended when you say this, but there's a certain hardness and toughness with some of those older players. And it comes from the era they played in. I mean, Lord have mercy. I mean, you were hitting every play. You were in practice. You were getting after it every play. And those guys were so tough and they were so important for their organizations. Like I said, that was the Cleveland defense for a long time. And with Munchak, that was the interior of those teams in Houston, right?
Man from Seoul. Bruce Matthews and Clay Matthews. Number 4 overall. How do you feel about that? A lot stronger than Rondé Barber, huh? I'm an instigator. And what I do is I'll get upset about something, and then the man from Seoul, he's like my big brother. He gets fired up too. And then he starts even getting angry because he starts internalizing it. And he starts thinking about it. And look at him right now. I mean, I've never seen him like this. He's got his hand here. He's looking sideways. He's a little upset.
You know what?
We need some 3 Mile in our life. We need some 3 Mile wings in our life. We need to go see our homegirl, the superstar, the hot shot. Yes, man for soul, Bruce Matthews and Clay.
Huh? So Matthews, right?
Man,
I was thinking about if I could tell the NFL story without Darryl Green. Okay, the Matthew brothers. Here we go. I'm not only great players, consummate professionals. And they are in their NFL storybook.
The NFL storybook, which I have a copy of. I'll go get it as soon as I play our graphic. Thank you very much, some guy in India, for making these about a year ago. Thank you. Take a look at these two guys. Which one used performance enhancement? Which one uses Ozempic? Which one uses growth hormone? Which one uses steroids? A or B? I know he's always been. Howard Schotsky loves my sense of humor. Yes, EAS, creatine. This guy was the poster child for creatine. He was the poster child for EAS supplements. And I don't know who this guy works for, but he's getting paid a lot of money. And don't tell me it's just ESPN. Shannon Sharp and Sterling Sharp. A and B. B was better than A. But then B got hurt, and he was Brett Favre's main guy. And then this guy. I mean, these guys, they're legacies, and they're also guys with a chip on their shoulder because they never had running water. They took a dump in an outhouse. They're from the middle of nowhere in South Carolina. Howard Schotsky. I'm going to go with Howard Schotsky because you were an agent the time that they played. So talk about the Sharp brothers.
I'm going to let you turn that echo off.
Turn the echo off. All right, let me see if I can turn the echo off. Where's the producer of the show? Where is? I just hired Angry Redskin fan. Angry Redskin fan is going to get fired again. Turn the echo off. Check, check, check.
That's better.
Am I still echoing?
I find it interesting that Sterling Sharp was a guy during his career who wouldn't deal with the media, wouldn't talk to the media, but now part of it. So I know
sabotage artist.
I know a lot of people weren't too happy about that, but he's got a good show now. You know, he's doing all right.
His show is nothing compared to our show. He knows nothing. I will put him head-to-head with Lambeau any day of the week. ESPN, Sterling Sharp, Damian Woody. You're from Ashland, Virginia. Damian Woody, I've been trying to get Lambeau hooked up with you for 2 years. And you played for Coach Jim McNally. Damian Woody from Patrick Henry High School. The Patrick Henry Patriots, I think they are. Went to Boston College, works for ESPN. I tried to get Lambeau hooked up with you so you could mentor him. ESPN, Barstool, Fox Sports, we're coming for you. And you're going to need to talk to our agent, our lawyer, our representative, and he is not looking at the contract unless it has numerous zeros. Numerous zeros. Coach Shea Freeman's smiling when he sees or hears zeros. Yeah, I got M's in my bank account. M's in my bank account. Howard, you know that song?
We got stacks, baby, stacks.
More money, more money, more money, more. Pat McAfee, want some, get some. You're an NFL punter, but you ain't tougher than me. Huh? You ain't getting a fight with guys in the Food Line parking lot. Let's go.
Hey, not everybody can take up 3 parking places. Come on now.
Yeah.
It's like one of those RVs at Walmart, and they might have a blue tarp hanging out the back, and they got an RV taking up 4 parking places.
M's in my bank account. M's in my bank account.
Hey, Sterling Sharp might be the best player that young people today have never seen play. Sterling Sharp was a different kind of wide receiver. I mean,
Steve Smith, who would you compare him to? What's your point of reference?
I don't know, man, because he was tall, and his lower half, right? He was built. I mean, Sterling for a wideout was a bully, I think. I mean, he was just so strong.
Hines Ward, Steve Smith, man from Seoul.
No.
I tell you, somebody people forget about is that that kid from Florida State that played tight end and slot receiver in the NFL for the Cardinals. That dude was fearless. He's a quarterback from the state of Florida. He's the best. Yeah. Bolden was the best receiver of all time. That dude was killer.
Yes, sir.
Who does he remind you of? For the people that never saw Sterling Sharp play, Howard, have you got a point of reference for Sterling Sharp?
Nah. He's unique.
So Hines Ward, Steve Smith. So when we're talking about them, is he more dynamic?
He had more
I mean,
size. Those guys, size-wise, weren't even close.
They were little.
You couldn't have put those guys at tight end.
No, I'm not talking about Shannon Sharp. Everybody knows Shannon Sharp. Shannon Sharp loves Shannon Sharp and his whatever he's called, his guy that does his wardrobe. But I'm talking about Sterling. Sterling Sharp, who is your point of reference? Shannon Sharp to me is a diva tight end. He's a guy that don't block. He's a receiver that lines up at tight end. So, I mean, but his brother, who is your point of reference for his brother? I said Hines Ward, Steve Smith. Sterling Sharp.
He was much bigger than those guys.
All right, man, this internet, good gosh. Cricket Wireless ain't worth it, y'all. Okay, he's 6 foot and he's 207 pounds.
Yeah, but
200.
But Troy Taylor, it's funny because back in the 80s, he seemed a lot bigger than 6 foot 207 because other wide receivers and other people in the secondary were so much smaller.
Correct.
He seemed like a giant in the game at the time.
Okay, so let's go back through the list this year of the receivers. Justin Jefferson's little. I mean, not little size-wise, but he's not bulky. He's not a bulky receiver. Dude, what about Ayuk? What about Debo? Is he a mixture between those two guys? Because I like points of reference, man. I don't know. I'm gonna find a point of reference for him. I like to talk about.
Sorry. Hey,
yeah.
The only thing I would say is it's almost like, and I'll interest what Howard says and Paul would say about this. It's almost like he had a tight end body from the waist down. Does that make sense? And for some reason, until he was hurt, I don't think you could stop him in the red zone, man. And it was crazy because his size at the time and his power in his lower half, he could like displace people and make plays.
I'm getting ready to make some people upset. Where's Coach Bald? Dude, I'll be willing to say this. I said that Tiki Barber is better than Rondé Barber. Well, at their heights, everybody knows that out of A and B, B was better than A.
You're going backwards again. We finished them a long time ago.
Yeah, but as a lawyer, I'm building my case, and I said that Rondé Barber was better than. I said Tiki Barber was better than Rondé, and I'll say that out of these two guys, A and B, that everybody knows B was better than A.
And the judge is getting ready to hold you in contempt of court for not moving on.
Man from Seoul, giving me the 11s.
I mean,
get back to Rondé Barber again.
Because I said Tiki Barber is better than Rondé Barber. And I'm saying right now that Sterling Sharp was better than Shannon Sharp.
And Shannon would agree
Freeman's
with that. Shannon would 100% agree with that. He said it numerous times, and he has a ton of respect for that dude, and he knows that he just went through his career uninjured.
Just like your brother wouldn't have made it without you. Your brother wouldn't have gone to Delaware if you hadn't gone to George Mason. Because Big Brother made Little Brother. Big Brother is my Big's brother. Yeah, brotherhood.
Well, I mean, I mean, I have a small sample size, but he was the youngest one, and he was fortunate to get all the extra stuff that the little baby brother gets. And fast forward to my group, the little brother was made by the big brothers, not me.
Yes, big brother. My big
And he's
brother was big
he's the
brother.
guy.
Coach Shea Freeman, I can see you want to say something.
I don't know. I had something, but I lost it because Paul was shooting facts so much. It's just one of those things where, like iron polishes iron. Iron sharpens iron. Like we have yin and yang, we have yin and yo, we have opposites, right?
Yeah.
Like we have light and shadow, right? And
Howard Shotskin in the Granite 617. That is the yin and the yang. That is the yin and the yang, but they meet in the middle, and they're a beautiful mix. Isn't that true, Howard?
Who's next?
Well, when we started this bad boy off, I said Peyton Manning and Eli Manning, and look who it is. Everybody's favorite American, just like Ronald Reagan, paid for by Wall Street and corporations. He will be president one day. This guy over on the left, Taylor Swift's boyfriend, corporate America, the banks bought them another Super Bowl. They wanted to get their $20 million back from Pfizer. And then the guy on the right. Are they the same or are they different? I saw them play in the Orange Bowl against Virginia Tech. And I said, who is that guy? Who is that guy? That tight end from Cincinnati. Who is that guy? Oh, yeah. He stands out, Howard. Talk a little bit about Travis Kelce and his brother, Jason Kelce. Who's better in the grand scheme of things in pro football history?
I don't think you can say one is better than the other. I think they're both probably Hall of Fame players.
$4 at the flea market. Both of these guys were walk-ons. Ohio State didn't offer them. They're chip on the shoulder guys. They're not legacy guys. They're tough guys that are great athletes. They probably made themselves into great athletes. One was a quarterback in high school. The other one was a running back. And they moved closer to the ball, Paul. They were out here, and the closer you get to the ball, the better athlete you are, the further you're going to go. Coach Shea Freeman, Line Play Brotherhood, Facebook, the #1 Facebook offensive defensive line group in the world. Go subscribe today. Travis Kelce or Jason Kelce. If I'm picking a team, I'm taking Batman. Who are you taking?
Well, Coach Troy Taylor, you hit the nail on the head about the closer you move to the ball.
Ooh, what? Say that again for the man from Seoul, because I've been trying to tell him that. The man from Seoul. Start him off at the corner and start moving them closer to the ball.
So one thing I would say too, it works the same on defense. Old Jimmy Johnson from Miami Hurricanes and Dallas Cowboys. Jimmy used to make a living from taking linebackers and making them into DNs and defensive tackles. And it's the same thing. When I can take, and so for me as a coach, if you're a tight end, even though I want you as an offensive tackle, I'm going to let you play it as long as you can. And same thing on defense. If you're a linebacker, I'm going to let you stay up, running around as long as you can before you put your hand out. Now, let's say why. Hey, why is that a true axiom? Because you never forget the sensation of moving your feet quickly. Does that make sense? You never forget what it feels like.
Yes.
Boo, 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 boo. My feet are moving like pistons. Foot fire McNally would call it. Pow, 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 pow. you never forget how it feels to move that way. Okay? Hey, so I agree 100%. I think Kelce, the center, is a special cat because I think it takes, like we said, centers are wild little animals. Centers are not like guards and tackles most of the time because they're just not. They have a different skill set. They got to do everybody's mental gymnastics. They got to make the calls. And then the people don't understand. The only way I can get extra help as an offensive lineman is to slide, is to go and overlap and touch my buddy's back. Talk about brotherhood. When I put my hand on your back and it's slide right, and I say, I'm here. Right now you can expand. Now I can go get the edge blitzer. I mean, hey, I teach linemen all the time, guys. Here's the one thing. This is the lineman's prayer. You ever heard of the lineman's prayer? Taught to me by Dan Burke. Here's what he said. Listen to this. The lineman's prayer. Say it with me, guys. I work the hardest. I work the hardest. I'm known the least. But I don't care because I am the reason.
Yes, the totem pole. That's the totem pole. That's the Mushroom Society. That's us. Howard Shotsky, Man from Soul. Howard Shotsky, did the Man from Soul comment about Travis Kelce and the center Kelce? Dude, Jason Kelce is in there with Mike Webster, what was his name? Darmani Dawson?
Yep.
Oh yeah. I mean, who else is there? For
Dwight
centers?
Stevenson.
Dwight Stevenson from Hampton High School. That's right, the Crabbers. VA, baby.
Hey,
Yes.
you ever want to watch the best game ever? To me, it's watching the Dolphins beat the Bears and watching Dwight Stevenson single block William Perry the whole game.
I know Dwight Stevenson's coach, Mike Smith. The 16 state championships. Man from Soul, what do you think about Travis Kelce and Jason Kelce? Which one you taking?
Well, which one I'm taking? I'm taking both. And I'll go back to what Howard said. And I will say this about these two dudes, man. Out of all the siblings that we put on this screen, these are the two that are the most close together. They are the tie. They are the closest thing that we got to a tie. When you're talking who's better, it's a tie. It's a tie. You can, because they play different positions, but it would take us the rest of the day to talk about why it's a tie. But it's a tie. It's a tie. What they've meant to each of their positions, they're right down the middle, and that's why they're like peas and carrots, peanut butter and jelly when it comes to doing things. I will also go back. I want to make a comment on you guys' comment of moving close to the ball. I agree, but that guy in New England, he taught me something about the middle of the field. That guy in New England taught me something about the middle of the field. What he taught me in this league, watching him, because I'm a stalker by nature. I like to look in the inside of the hourglass. Bill Belichick, he said this. Do nose guards get paid more than tackles? Nope. Do inside backers get paid more than outside backers? Nope. Do safeties get paid more than corners? Nope. Then we need to find the two best tight ends we can in college football, and we're going to attack the middle of the field with our little slot corner, Julian Edelman. But you know who we're going to put at receiver? A guy that played lacrosse at Penn State, because receivers don't matter. We need to attack inside those numbers because that's the weakest point on a defense. The guys that get paid the least, we want to attack them. They stayed inside those damn hash marks with Tom Brady, Gronkowski, and God rest his soul, Aaron Hernandez, and they dominated for a decade doing that.
And Julian Edelman, who wasn't afraid to go.
They dominated for a decade inside the numbers. They didn't work. The only time they went outside the numbers was a swing pass to their little cheap running back. Dude, they were the Zing to Jimmy Johnson's Zang.
It takes a special kind of...
And again, look, in history, the middle of the field guys get paid the least amount for a reason, because they're protected. They're protected souls. When you're on the edge, if you're a D end, if you're a corner, you make money because you're the last line. And they said, I'm not screwing around with guys like Revis and them out there. Let's go in here where the guys are hiding, because guys are hiding in there. They kick corners down to safety later on for a reason, because they can't play corner anymore. Attack the weakness, and they attacked the damn league with tight ends for decades. And it was just genius.
Okay.
That's my take on your moving close to the ball.
So
But
here
yeah,
we go. When y'all were talking, Matt Mazes says, why is Buddy talking through a kinetic mic? Because we're the low man on the totem pole, Matt. Dude, we're better than ESPN and we're better than Barstool, and we have nothing. We have a cell phone. Matt Mays says, I feel like I'm listening to a video from 1998. Because you are. You're looking at guys to get more views than the sports junkies. And we don't even have a producer. I'm sitting here ripping pictures out of a $4 NFL book. We're the low man on the totem pole. But there's a guy that drafted both of these guys. And that guy knows the pattern. That guy knew that these guys were special. Not because what's outside, but what's inside. And the only way you know the pattern is be around guys that are the pattern. And that is Andy Reid. Andy Reid drafted both of these guys. Howard Schotzky. That's impressive, is it not?
Yeah, except Andy Reid's the head coach. They don't usually draft. It's usually the personnel department.
Yeah, but nobody remembers anybody in the personnel.
Hey, hold on. I got insider information. I sat in the office. I sat in the office with the GM for the Kansas City Chiefs. And you know what he told me?
What? Oh my gosh.
I shop for groceries, but Andy Reid makes the cake.
Dude, I'm looking at a book from the 75th season. That was 1995. Are y'all ready for this? Dude, hold on. Look at this. This is from a book from 1995. Where am I at? Well, Jay Freeman's not on here. This is from a book from 1995. Look at that. That was the plan. This is a book from 1995. Look at that. They got the screen right in front of you. The only thing is the screen is in his hand. That's the pattern. Look at this. 1995. Look at this. You think these guys are stupid? Look at that.
Can we get back to this list?
Sure, we are on the list. But I'm ripping through a $4 book that I got at the flea market to see this. An image from 1995 of today. It's a pattern.
Hey.
The list is this. Here we go. Number one on your list. Number one on your list. And the top 20 players are two things. They're legacy guys or they're chip on the shoulder guys.
You got that echo
When you
going.
can find a legacy guy that's a chip on the shoulder guy, you can find a GOAT. And this is what you got. Howard, Peyton Manning, and Eli Manning.
Who's got more rings?
Eli's got 2. How many does Peyton Manning have?
2.
Dude, Eli
It's
Manning.
not a tie, though. This is not a tie.
Dude, I'm not so sure Peyton Manning's not better than Tom Brady.
Different kind of cat.
I'm not so sure Dan Marino might not be the best quarterback of all time. I might be upsetting some people. I might be, but I tell you one thing. I know one thing. Dan Marino today and Drew Bledsoe, they still look good. Tom Brady looks like a skeleton. He looks like Skeletor. He looks like a young Joe Biden with his fake hair. I would rather be Peyton Manning and Eli Manning. I would rather be Dan Marino and Drew Bledsoe, Stargrove. I definitely agree with their placement. Stargrove both have 2. Eli beat Brady twice. No, who beat who was Tom Coughlin knew the pattern. Tom Coughlin was the wide receiver coach for your team, Howard Schotsky, the New York Giants, and Bill Parcells. And who knows Belichick's pattern? Tom Coughlin. Tom Coughlin is underrated. Tom Coughlin is the only coach. Yeah, Spags. He's the only coach with 2 Super Bowls not in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So Howard Schotsky, Peyton Manning, Eli Manning, Stargrove. Peyton is a great player, but remember how the Broncos lost to the Seahawks.
Okay.
Tom Brady went 10 years without winning a Super Bowl. Dude, that's respect. People forgot about Belichick and forgot about Brady. But Howard Schotsky, how do you feel about this countdown? How do you feel about this podcast? We did 2 hours, Howard.
And if I hadn't kept you in line, it would have been 4 hours.
And that's just like the Howard Stern show. That's just like Pat McAfee. They go for 4 hours, don't they?
They get paid $20 million.
Yeah.
And
but they was doing it for free at one time too. But you know what? It ain't about me. I'm 45. I may never see the promised land. But you know what? Maybe Streak will see it. Maybe Lambeau will see it. Maybe y'all's kids will see it. Because there is a problem today in our country. Yeah. And it is ESPN. It's Fox Sports. It's that nobody tells the truth because everybody's getting paid. So totem pole is needed more than ever. Jay Freeman's smiling. Totem pole is needed more now than ever with our politics, our entertainment. Go ahead, Jay Freeman.
Hey, I was just going to say you're exactly right. Whenever you have independent ideas and independent thoughts, and especially when they come from Virginia, New York, Florida, Boston, Washington State, you got a mix of American ideas, a mix of American thoughts. And it's really cool when we get to come together and talk about football or sports or life, because we're literally coming from 5 different parts of the country. Guys, the other thing I thought was funny is on this list is, what does this say about a mom and a dad or a household or the way a kid was raised? Okay. Now we could have the same episode. I can tell you
what it says because I know the pattern.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Is that these young people that became on this list?
Yeah, I mean,
they were taught how to work. I wonder how many of them had military parents or military grandparents or military coaches. Let's ask that question.
All right, I'm gonna answer the best I can. Brotherhood. Ron Prince, who was the head coach at Howard, got fired. He was the offensive line coach at UVA. He was the head coach at Kansas State. He came to my school and he said, Troy, I'm looking for team captains on championship teams. That means he's looking for the leaders of great programs. And he said the number one statistic in pro football, whether a player is going to be successful or not, is whether that kid has, if they've got the talent, if they got everything that it takes, do they have somebody at home that got up every morning and went to work? If a kid doesn't have that, and it doesn't matter whether it's the grandma, grandpa, aunt, uncle, if they don't have someone that showed them the pattern, showed them the work ethic, they're not going to be successful. Woody Hayes, they asked Woody Hayes, Woody, you're old. You're an old white guy. I mean, where is he from? Ohio? I don't know. And they said, how can you coach these inner city kids? And he said, well, we have found that it doesn't matter about what a kid looks like or if they come from a rich home or a poor home. Money doesn't have anything to do with it. It's, do they have someone that loves them Was there love in that home? And we found that a good home doesn't have anything to do with how much money they have in the bank or how good of a neighborhood it is. Man from soul, brotherhood. Man, we're getting into it. That's why Totem Pole Nation destroys everybody else. I think because we actually got soul. And Howard, the thing I want to say about you, because I talked about you yesterday, the one thing I'm seeing from you, especially yesterday, bruh, it's like you can feel your soul again, man. Like, dude, I was watching Hoarders, and there was a guy who his 2-year-old son died in a crib. And then like 10 years later, his wife died. And I was thinking to myself, this dude's a hoarder because he's been dead, man. He died, man, when that little kid, he said it felt like he fell off a mountain. He couldn't even move. He was dead, man. And like he met this woman and she didn't even know he was a hoarder. And she went to his house and she cried. She was like, how can anyone live like this? This woman only known him 6 months, but she loved him. He was a great man. Dude, you can be a great man. You can be a great person and help everybody. And you can still feel like you fell off a mountain. You can feel like you fell off a mountain, Howard. And you know what, dude? I can see yesterday, dude, you fell off a mountain, bro. But I can see you're getting back up. You can feel your soul again, man. And that's what makes me happy, man. And it don't matter if I make $1 million or 20 million. Because in the end, all that's going to go away. The only thing that matters is what don't matter. It ain't matter. You can't touch it. Because we look at who these stars are in this world, like Elvis Presley and Marilyn Monroe and Michael Jackson. They got something in them. And people see it in them. And they use them up and they spit them out. And you know what? They signed up for it. But what we got inside of us, money can't buy. It's like Pulp Fiction. What was in that suitcase? It was something you can't buy. But you can't sell something that ain't yours. And you can't sell something you ain't got. Howard, how are you feeling?
I'm all right, man. How about you?
I'm alive. And to be alive means you're a human being. It means I can cry. It means I can be happy. It means I can go help a guy with Tourette's and autism get Funko Pops. I can go get peanut butter cookies. And then I can almost get into a fight with the guy in the parking lot that don't like my energy. Because the dark don't like the light. Because when the light turns on, the cockroaches, we call them friends where I'm from. I never knew there was a difference between a water bug and a cockroach. Yeah.
How about a palmetto bug?
Yeah, palmetto bug. Call it whatever you want. It's still a cockroach.
I'll tell you what, I had a similar situation to your parking lot story. I was...
I'm sure you have.
Yeah. It was one of the days something had happened. So I was not really, 100% focused.
Yes.
And taking the dog to the vet, I might have been worried about the dog because this might have been when the dog started to go downhill and was going to die eventually. And I blew past the stop sign by accident. Now, nothing happened. Nobody was there. Next thing you know, I see a car from the other lane flip a U-turn, and the guy gets right on my ass and starts following me. So I obviously don't know if this is some kind of deranged lunatic. The last thing I'm going to do is stop and have a chat. So I keep driving. I'm going in and out, right and left, and he keeps following me. So finally, I pull through the alley, and I go into the supermarket. And I park in between two cars so that he can't come up next to me. And he gets in front of me, and because I had blown through that stop sign, he felt the need to rip me a new one. Even though I had already apologized to him for going through the stop sign and told him that it was a mistake. So you got a choice in life, like I always said. You can be the kind of person that if somebody has an interaction with you, it makes their day a little bit better. Or you can be an asshole and have an interaction with somebody and put them in a bad mood or make their day a little bit worse. So everybody has that choice every day when they wake up in the morning. And I know what the people here choose to do. The people here choose to have interactions with people that make their day a little bit better. And that's why we all get along, and that's why we're all here.
Wow.
That's well said, Howard. Well
Grandpa
said.
BR. Hey, Grandpa BR. We love you, Grandpa BR. Welcome back.
Hey, that was great stuff, man. Talking about that stuff, talking about like who we are and what it is with the light and the darkness, and talking about coming back from falling off of top of mountains and the idea of being a hoarder and having to overcome tragedy. I mean, listen, our life is hard. Our life is difficult. Our life is full of pain and suffering.
And guess what else? As my father always used to tell me, no one ever promised you life was going to be fair.
Hey,
Nope.
you know what I found that out one time? My first practice as a little league football player, and I got double teamed by these two mean brothers. And I got off the ground, I looked at Coach, and I said, "Hey, Coach, they both just hit me at the same time." And he said, "Yeah, that's what they're supposed to do. Get in there and do it again."
It's
And then they do. Yeah. But you know what brotherhood is? Brotherhood is knowing you can depend on someone without ever having to ask for their help, without ever having to feel guilty about it. They're people that pick you up without having to say a word. And I'll tell you what, that's what I found in this group in a matter of about 3 weeks, is we got some people here that you can lean on. We got some people here
Gator is in the house.
No doubt. Grandpa Gator. What do you think, Jay? What were you saying?
Well, I was just talking about that, and the one thing I was thinking about when you said that is we're made out of star stuff. We're made out of the same stuff as the stars, and we have stuff inside of us. You can look at us and say, "Hey, we're biological entities." We're like all these other little people around us. Well, I think we're imbued and filled with a little something special. We got a little something special inside of us, and that's what makes us different. When you look at people that achieve great things and overcome great odds, yeah, it might be from their family, it might be from their drive, but it might be because we're here to do something bigger and do something more important with our life. Everyone in this group has served other people. Yes, sir.
Well, try getting through life.
Keep going. Keep going.
Try getting through life without any friends. And you know what they say? You can't choose your family, but you can choose your friends.
Friends or family that you get to choose.
That's right.
I got a guy that keeps walking up here. Come on over here.
It's the DC Metropolitan Police.
Come over here. Sit down. Nah, come on over here and sit down.
Is it Dad?
Yes, it's my dad. Come here.
Oh, that's a hero, man.
Dad, this is all we do. Come here.
That's a U.S. Marine hero right there.
Come on. What's wrong with me? Come here. How much longer am I going to know?
Dad.
I got you sitting right here next to me, and it could be here forever, man. Just come here, sit down next to me.
Come here, Dad.
Come on. Keep walking up here.
I've been listening to it all
He's
morning.
been listening to it all morning.
All right, listen. I want to hear this.
Just have a seat, Dad. Just sit down for me. What am I crying about? The same reason you started crying when you told me that my brother was the only brother I would ever have. You told me that when I was a kid.
It is.
And this guy right here, man, is the reason, him and my mom, is the reason that I am who I am. And this guy, he's the pattern, man. And like we said on this list, you either are a legacy or you're a guy with a chip on your shoulder. But when you're a legacy and you got a chip on your shoulder, yeah, watch out, because things are going to change. And this man, I've never did a podcast about him, but he's the smartest man I ever met. He has a GED just like Lambo, but this man could have been a Supreme Court justice. He's got a photographic memory just like Lambo. He can memorize a book. This is Life Lessons Podcast, Dad. Jackson's going to be watching this, and Teresa's going to be watching this one day. What do you want to tell them? Do it, man. You're special. Do it.
I told you I didn't want to be on the podcast.
You didn't want to be on the podcast, but you're on the
And
podcast.
don't repeat everything I say.
Yes, sir.
I'm not living off mine. My life, I've lived my life 82 years.
Yes, sir.
And I don't want mine to be looked at 10 years from now, 20 years from now. You know who I am. You know who you are.
Yeah, but your grandkids won't remember you. And their kids. These guys love me. They not even know me that long. He was my agent when I was at Virginia Union. But Dad, you're a Freemason, and that's about friendship, morality, and brotherly love. And this is the Brotherhood Podcast. Friendship, morality, and brotherly love. Talk about that, Dad.
I told you I didn't want to do it. I told you that, so you could come in here to do it. What is that there for?
I don't know.
Hey, Troy Taylor, can I say something to Dad before he goes?
Go ahead.
I don't know why you just don't sit down.
I don't want to say it. I'm listening to shit all day.
Hey, sir, can you tell me your first name?
Chuck.
Well, listen, I want to tell you something, Chuck, and you don't know me from Adam's house cat, but I want to tell you something. My dad isn't around anymore. He was a U.S. Marine, and he was the son of a U.S. Marine, and he built railroads for a living. And when I heard Troy Taylor had you in the next room about a week ago, it made my heart fill with joy, because I sure wish I could go give my dad a hug and talk to him and listen to his stories. And I want to tell you one thing. I'm a high school football coach for 30 years, and I'm a special ed teacher for 18 years. And I got 6 kids of my own. But I want to tell you something, sir. The love that you and your wife poured into your son has touched so many people's lives. Has touched so many people's lives outside of the state of Virginia. All around the United States, this guy has touched people's lives, and it's just going to keep going. And I'll tell you right now, that's probably a testament in every way to you and your wife and the love you poured into him.
Time's up.
Anyway, sir, Chuck, I don't mean to say whatever, sir, but I just want you to know, through your son, you left an indelible mark on the world.
Still, the builder rejected us become the chief cornerstone.
I appreciate it. You have a blessed day.
You too, sir.
You got
Sure.
anything you want to say to him? Howard? Paul?
I don't have nothing else to say.
You don't have to say it. Maybe they're going to say it.
I don't.
Paul?
I'm gone.
Hey,
Why?
I'll keep it short. Thank you for
Chuck.
bringing him into the world, because
It was my pleasure.
my world wouldn't be the same without him.
I didn't come from him. I came through him.
Yeah, look,
You know what I mean,
Look
knucklehead.
at this.
Hey, how many kids in America never got a taste of Semper Fidelis or Gung Ho, but they got a little bit of it from Troy Taylor? They got a little taste of it. They got a little taste of it in their life of what it means to work hard and suck up their guts and drive on and to be tough and to have those values that means to be an American the way we've always been and to fight together. That's what he's taught people. That's what he still teaches people. But he does it not with a meanness, not with a hard edge. He does it with love. And that's the difference.
Well, I think this is a great place for us to wrap up.
Yeah, man. I love y'all.
All right, y'all. Have a great day.